Welcome! I'm so very glad you've chosen to join me for this webinar, packed full of just all kinds of juicy goodness. For those of you who are new here, I am Melissa Homner, founder, CEO, and lead functional medicine health coach at Sagebrush Wellness. My team and I specialize in disease resolution for those who struggle with chronic pain and illness as a result of autoimmune activation in their body. So we're talking about lupus today, and lupus is a common disease dynamic that we work with here for our clients, and one that can be successfully addressed when you understand what is causing this dynamic in your body and then have the tools and the know-how to actively change what is causing this for you and let your body recover. So our goal in serving our clients is not only to help them become well, but to know how to stay well, right? That's a big deal. Thanks again for joining me. Let's just dig in. And let me see if I can. There we go. Thank you so much for joining me. I understand that health-related issues can be challenging to talk about. But please know that we are here to help you. And as I'm going through this webinar with you, I hope that I will be able to answer some questions that have possibly been hanging around in your consciousness for quite a while. So let's talk about lupus. Let's really get on the same page about what lupus actually is. So for most people, lupus is a lifelong disease dynamic. And when we say this, what I mean is even though we are able to address this and really change the symptoms, what is happening in your body, how this disease dynamic is playing out for you, there will always be, it will always kind of hang in the background. So even though we figure out what is going on, we address the triggers, we address the core issues that is causing this disease dynamic for you, we will always need to be vigilant. You'll always need to be careful and keep doing the things that we've discovered for you that really make a difference in your quality of life. So lupus is an autoimmune disease, and sometimes when people hear that, it just kind of makes their heart sink. But I want you to understand that autoimmune diseases are a result of the immune system becoming dysregulated, okay? Becoming either over or underreactive. And if the causes are not found and addressed, this can actually cause damage in many parts of the body. So a trademark of autoimmune disease is chronic inflammation in the body. So just a little bit more about lupus. Statistically, 9 out of 10 people with lupus are ladies, women. Additionally, 1 in 3 lupus clients suffer from other autoimmune disease dynamics. So one of the things I want you to think about right now is if you have multiple autoimmune diagnoses, often the root causes for all of these are likely interconnected or the same. So when we start to understand what is happening for your body and we start addressing those root causes, we're not just addressing one thing, we're addressing the whole body system, right? All right, so lupus most commonly affects the skin, joints, internal organs, like kidneys and heart. So it's kind of a big deal to get on top of this as soon as you know this is a dynamic for you. One of the struggles with lupus is, according to the Lupus Foundation of America, 6 years is the average time from the onset of symptoms to obtaining a diagnosis of lupus. And one of the things that I want you to think about is even though when we're in the beginnings of having things are going wrong and we're just searching so hard to actually put a name to what's happening in our bodies, a diagnosis doesn't change anything, right? A diagnosis doesn't help me as a functional medicine health coach to, you know, do what we need to do with you. We work with body systems. We work with what's happening in your body. And the name you give whatever is happening in your body doesn't make any difference. We still treat it the same. So symptoms can be unclear. They can come and go and can change, as well as mimic other illnesses. So for this reason, I suggest starting to address the disease process before it becomes advanced enough to be diagnosable, right? I had the privilege of being part of a clinical trial a couple of years ago as one of the clinical coaches working with lupus clients. And this is where I got to first really see and understand the power of this way of approaching lupus, really using functional medicine principles and looking for the root causes. We were seeing clients who had suffered from lupus symptoms for years. And they were finding not just temporary relief, but sustainable wellness, which is the goal, right? Since then, I've been able to witness numerous clients regain their quality of life and not having to depend on medications, but addressing the whys behind this disease process, why it was happening for them in the first place, which is so cool, right? That's not something that we hear about often in the regular medical world. So let's talk about the 4 basic forms of lupus. So there is systemic lupus. This is the most common and accounts for approximately 70% of all lupus cases. And in approximately half of these cases, a major organ or tissue in the body, such as the heart, lungs, kidney, or brain, may be affected. Cutaneous lupus, this is affecting only the skin, and this accounts for approximately 10% of all lupus cases. The third is drug-induced lupus, and I want you to kind of hear me on this, but because this accounts for about 10% of all lupus cases and is caused by high doses of certain medications. So this is something that is not mentioned often when you get on a high-powered medication and then you start experiencing weird, more weird symptoms coming. This could be because your body is not handling the drug well, and it's actually inducing the symptoms that would be diagnosable as lupus. So the symptoms of drug-induced lupus are similar to systemic lupus. However, symptoms usually subside when the medications are discontinued. The fourth is neonatal lupus. This is kind of rare, and this is a condition in which the mother's antibodies affect the fetus. So at birth, the baby may have a skin rash, liver problems, or low blood cell counts. These typically disappear completely after 6 months with no lasting effects. So let's talk about coping with lupus. And if you have lupus, you're going to be like, yeah, right? Lupus is exhausting. It hurts. It really can cut into your life experience. Quite a few of the clients that we've worked with have had to quit their jobs or completely change what they do as an occupation. So if you're living with a lupus diagnosis, here are some statistics that you might relate to, right? So 65% of people with lupus say chronic pain is the most difficult part of having lupus. I hear this over and over again. But fortunately, this is something that can be changed when we discover the underlying causes for you. 76% of lupus clients say fatigue caused by lupus has forced them to cut back on social activities. And I'd like to take this a bit further, not just social activities, but being able to actually, if you're a parent, being able to go to your kids' functions, being able to be involved in life, right? Because it hurts and you're just so tired. I think the fatigue is probably the one thing that I see constantly in my practice as being the most debilitating thing that folks with lupus deal with. 9% of people with lupus say they can no longer work full-time due to lupus complications. By the time people end up in my practice, this is way higher than 9%, right? So one of the things that we really work on are these pieces. I mean, this is the first line of defense for you. Let's really change this for you. All right, so managing symptoms. And I put this slide in here, but I want to kind of pick it apart for you, because managing symptoms is what you've been taught that you have to do with lupus, right? But living with lupus is all about addressing what is triggering the disease process for you and managing the symptoms as your body heals. To do this, it's really important to identify your lupus flares, like the times your symptoms get worse. So flares can come and go, but as we address the root causes and as the body systems begin to recover, the flares become less and less frequent and less severe. So obviously our end goal is for those flares to completely stop happening and for you to be able to maintain that for yourself. Sometimes that's possible. Sometimes the symptoms are just, the flares only happen once in a while. Like if you have a big stress upset or, something big happens in your life, they'll pop up again. So this is like one of the most important slides we're going to talk about. So here are some of the common triggers, and I want you to kind of lean into this and think about your own disease dynamic and how it's showing up in your body. And these can help you think about, okay, what could possibly be some of the root causes for me, right? So common flare triggers include overwork and not enough rest. And if you're farther on in the disease process, you're like, okay, I can't even work and all I do is rest. But this is really important for folks who are in the beginning stages and just their body is just starting to exhibit symptoms. Don't push it. Really listen to your body. So stress is a big trigger. Food sensitivities are a huge trigger. Bacterial infections in the intestinal tract. I see this all the time, and this is often missed by regular GI docs, regular endocrinologists, those who are working with people who have lupus and providing them with diagnoses as well as medication. This is a big piece. Contact with an allergen. Dehydration. Curiously enough, this is a big part of lupus, and especially the pain piece. You have to have enough water. And I mean water, not other types of drinks, water. And some type of medicines, right? We talked about that. Before a flare, your symptoms might get worse, or you might get new signs and symptoms, such as feeling more tired. That's kind of your body, giving you a heads up. Pain, more pain. A rash, sometimes a fever or a stomach ache, sometimes a severe headache that kind of has an onset trigger of dizziness. So this is one thing I'm huge on, right? I really want you to understand what's happening with your body. So when we're talking about doing your own research, I love that, but I also want you to know that most of the research you're going to do and the answers you're going to get from doing that research are general and they aren't specific for your body. So what lupus looks like for you is going to be different than for anyone else. So as I work with clients, we're discovering what their body needs are, right? And what they need to do to support the healing in their bodies for their unique case. The more you know about your condition, the more you feel in control. And it's also important to know as much as you can about what triggers are a flare for you. So one of the tools that I love to use, and you can find apps to put on your phone, you can do this on paper, whatever works for you, but I like using a food, water, symptoms, and bowel movement journal to take note of what you're doing or experiencing when your flares develop and what you think your particular triggers may be. This way, we're literally getting raw data from the body and can pinpoint the more elusive triggers unique to you. So movement is huge, and this is really hard when you're experiencing a lot of pain and fatigue. It is really hard to get out and do any kind of movement. So it's okay to rest and not push it until you feel ready. And it's important to understand, though, for your own mental health, that even if you aren't able to get out and actually do some sort of activity or movement, just being able to sit in the sun is a huge piece, right? And some people with lupus are sensitive to the sun at the beginning, but as their body begins to recover and as we get the vitamin D levels up and, you know, all the little pieces that we need to work on for you, you'll be more tolerant of the sun, and you can actually use, you know, experience sunlight as part of your healing journey. Sleep. Oh my gosh, I cannot stress this enough. And you guys know, you guys that have lupus, you know this is huge for you. But it's really, really important to create a schedule that allows plenty of time for rest. This means 8 to 10 hours of restful sleep each night and time to take breaks throughout the day. And this is a conscious choice, right? A lot of people don't think about how much time their body needs to sleep and rest. And especially when you're in the recovery phase, your body has to have sleep. That's when most of your healing happens. So as your energy gets better, this becomes something that you'll have to prioritize, not just when you're getting better, but when you even feel well, to make sure you allow yourself enough time to actually rest and sleep. I love this. So stress is a big trigger generally for folks with lupus, right? So figure out things that really help you manage stress. And that's something we really help our clients with here at Sagebrush Wellness, because it's a part of so many of the autoimmune disease dynamics, right? So just thinking about, do you enjoy meditation? Do you enjoy yoga? Do you enjoy reading a good book? Something that helps you actually just decompress. Some people like to use breathing exercises or NET techniques. But whatever you find to use in the moment to really help you process through stress. All right. Here's some quick nutritional do's and don'ts. And this once again is broad stroke. For your specific body, it may be a lot different. But these are general guidelines. So here are some foods that may trigger flares unique to you. One of the things that we've learned by working with so many folks with lupus is that it's really important to figure this piece out for you individually. So my team and I are excellent. We've done this for years. There's actually testing that you can do, or we can use a journal, whatever works best for you, whatever you decide you want to do. But we can help you do this. So here's some general guidelines though. Replace soda and caffeine or any type of sugary beverages with water. This is a big deal. You can make water more exciting by flavoring it with fresh fruits and herbs. That's fun to do. Like one of my favorites is to slice fresh cucumber in a bottle of water. It's really delicious. Anyways, avoid refined carbs. So this includes processed bread, pasta, rice, and snacks. So this can be a challenge, especially when you're so tired, you don't feel like cooking a meal or something like that, and you just grab whatever there is. This is a switch that you'll need to do to really care for yourself. Instead, opt for gluten-free or grain-free options, such as gluten-free bread, rice, quinoa. There are so many cool substitutes now available, like especially for pasta. There's some really great rice pasta that can be used. Go heavy on fresh veggies, root vegetables, etc. This is huge. Bring in a good amount of protein, especially for your first meal of the day. So really shoot for about 20 grams or more. And don't be afraid to have lean meats, especially red meats. Sometimes this is something that we have to work up to because of the digestive secretions not working correctly for you. But the last thing I want you to think about is consciously bring in good fats like olive oil, coconut oil, and avocados, and steer clear of bad fats. And if you want to do some research around that, I would really encourage that and take that seriously. What are good fats? What are bad fats? All right, so here are some anti-inflammatory foods that can really support your body's fight against inflammation. So flaxseed is a really good one. I love to use this in like a smoothie, a protein smoothie in the morning. Works really great. Avocados, if you do okay with those. Any kind of nuts, seeds, berries, leafy green vegetables. Things like squash, any of the root vegetables are awesome. And lean protein, including red meat. So, explore alternative care. And this is something that a lot of people are leaning towards because the medications generally prescribed for lupus don't stop or turn back the disease process. The hope is with medication is to slow down the process, but if the drivers in what is actually facilitating or pushing this disease dynamic forward in your body isn't addressed, that's true. I mean, that's what we can hope for, right? So a lot of folks are discovering that there are other ways to deal with lupus that actually help to solve the issues, right? So it's my pleasure to help each client understand the cause of their symptoms instead of masking them with medications. So what do? We just dig in with you and really unravel what is the underlying causes, there's usually more than one, of this disease process for you, and then address those. We use, here at Sagebrush Wellness, we use a systems-oriented approach, and your coach and you work together to develop a therapeutic partnership, which means that you play a significant role in your treatment. So remember what I said at the beginning. It's our goal to not only help you understand what's driving this for you and help you get better, but for you to have all of the information and tools that you need to be able to know how to stay well, right? So let's talk about some of the hidden causes. We did talk about this just briefly, but I want to suggest a few more. So these are common causes of lupus that I've seen in my practice. So these can include allergens. This is kind of a big piece for lupus. Bacterial imbalance and or bacterial infection. Toxins, poor diet, heavy viral load, congestion of the biliary duct, insufficient digestive secretions, food sensitivities, and not being able to process stress. So, I would like to invite you to ask some questions. If you know me, I can hear the smiles or see the smiles on your faces because my clients know that I love questions. They are sometimes the gateway to discovery. So please post your questions in the comment section below. I'll be watching the feed and answering questions as they come in. I would also suggest for you, if you have lupus or you suspect you have lupus, or if you have another condition that you want to really work with us to address, I would suggest going to our website, Sagebrush, www.sagebrushwellness.com, just like it sounds. And there is a book a session button on the home page. You can use that to book in for a free 20-minute consultation with me. We'll really go over what's going on with you and talk about what it will look like to really address that. So thank you so much for taking time to learn more about living with lupus. If you need help with any of the lifestyle changes, or you want to really dig in and figure out what is causing this dynamic in your body, and you want to really address this to become as well as possible, I suggest to schedule a consultation with us. I'm going to give you my phone number. Our office phone number is 406-595-2331. Once again, it's 406-595-2331. And to learn more about our team, go to sagebrushwellness.com. We are currently accepting new clients. And if you'd like to work with us, use the Book a Session button on our homepage to schedule your free initial consultation. We are here to help you live your best life. Thanks again. Have an amazing day.